Hi, happy to have you here in Southslope Coffee's tutorial on how to brew with an Aeropress. This is one of the most versatile coffee brewers on the market. There's so many recipes, it's actually overwhelming. You can make good shots close to an espresso, or go the way we're going to show you here, which is a more balanced coffee that's more like a pour-over. So if you want to make a delicious Aeropress that brings out the most beautiful notes in a light to medium roast, this is the recipe for you. So here's what you'll need for this. An Aeropress, well obviously. The Aeropress funnel and paddle. You might not need the funnel, but we're going to show you a cool little trick for the funnel. A kettle, although not completely necessary, a scale, and, of course, 22 grams of coffee, ground fine. The good part about this recipe is that it's super simple and fast. And the Aeropress is super easy for travel. It's what we actually use whenever we're not home. We're going to start by heating up our water to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a kettle with temperature control, all you have to do is let the water boil, and then let it sit for about 45 seconds to a minute. Once the water is ready, let's place the filter in the cap and screw it on the Aeropress tightly. We're going to use the Aeropress funnel for brewing because we are using a vessel with a small opening. Pour some of that hot water into the Aeropress. This wets the filter and gets the paper taste out and heats up the Aeropress and vessel. Let's discard that water into the vessel or into your sink, whatever you prefer. The grind for this method is important. We look to grind in between espresso and pour over. This takes a bit of experimentation and all depends on your grinder. We will talk about this at the end of the video on how to fine-tune your grind. We've already poured our grounds into the Aeropress and we want to tear the scale. Add the hot water, enough to wet the grounds completely. Now we want to give it a good 4 to 5 spins. Now go ahead and fill up with the hot water to about 270 grams. Go ahead and grab the Aeropress paddle and do 3 circular motions. That way we're going to move the grounds and help extraction. At this point, start your timer. Grab the plunger and place it on top of the Aeropress to avoid the brew to drain down. Now is a good time to take the vessel and Aeropress off of the scale so that we don't plunge on. Your scale will most likely be damaged if you do so. When your timer reads 50 seconds, we're going to take off the plunger. And with the paddle, we're going to do 3 back and forth motions. Place plunger and press down. You should be putting some pressure on it. It shouldn't be too soft or too hard. So plunge slowly and take about 20 to 30 seconds to finish. So we're reaching the end here and your timer should read between a minute 30 to a minute 40. Once you're done, you can take your Aeropress and put it anywhere, in the vessel, or take it to the sink, and then make sure to clean it as soon as possible. So we do about a 15-to-1 ratio. So we already poured 270 grams of water, so we will add 50 grams of water. So your coffee should be perfect at this point. And if it's not, well, there's adjustments that can be made. If the coffee came out too strong and bitter, adjust the grind coarser. If coffee is weak and or sour, just do a finer grind. The great part about the Aeropress is that you can really make more or less coffee just by following the 15:1 water to coffee ratio. Here's a good example. If you want to make about a 10-ounce cup, use 18 grams of coffee and 270 grams of water, and you won't have to add any more water after the plunge. If you like a more full-bodied cup of coffee, we recommend this variation. Do the same recipe as we instructed before, but with the inverse method, which means to place the plunge on the Aeropress and place it upside down on the scale. Once you finish going through the pouring of the water and spinning the slurry, you place the cap on at the end and then invert to plunge. Are you drinking your coffee with milk or any milk substitute? We would recommend to go with a 14:1 water to coffee ratio so that your coffee is a little stronger, especially when you are diluting it down. We hope that this tutorial helps you get a beautiful tasting cup of coffee, which will highlight all the best notes in our roasts. Now go get your Aeropress dialed in and enjoy your brew.